Advice from a Unicorn, January 26th. This is when I wrap everything up from the last 6 days into one flow, and I'll speed it up for TikTok and Instagram, and then I'll put the full flow so that you can follow along. I'll put that on YouTube. So I'm gonna go ahead and stand in mountain pose. So that was the pose that was inspired by the quote from MLK. And that was the active standing pose with the feet shoulder width apart. And I'm going to take the block actually and put it in between my thighs because I want to really focus in on activating those legs. So bringing the legs so that I'm facing, almost facing the knees inward toward each other, activating the legs, but then still keeping those knees soft, rolling the shoulders back, getting nice and settled into this position. All right, that's what's happening on the lower half, mountain pose. For the upper half, we can go ahead and start incorporating that hand massage. So remember when you got 3 fingers pointing back at you when you're pointing at someone else, when you're worrying about someone else's mistakes and actions. So we're going to worry about ourselves. So go ahead and use this time as you're actively standing in mountain pose with the bottom half to engage in that hand massage. So using the thumb, pressing in to the palm of the hand on the other hand, circling the fingers, rotating them clockwise and counterclockwise. And then pressing up through each of those little divots in the fingers. So each of those 3 joint, the areas in between the knuckles, basically, those divots is what I call them. And then just pressing in, pinching in on each one, sending a nice little squeeze and a burst of oxygenated blood down into the tips of the fingers. All right. And then when I get to the thumbs, I'm going to do a nice little stretch or pressing in between the thumb and the index finger. So really pressing in and working that little area. If you spend a lot of time on text or using your thumbs to scroll and type, then this will feel really good. Make sure you do the other side, pressing into the palm, actively squeezing in that bottom half still, staying engaged in that mountain pose. Pressing the thumb into the palm, rotating the fingers. Just taking time to show our hands a little love here. Keeping those legs nice and engaged. All right, now pressing in between each of the knuckles, sending blood to these juicy fingers here. Each little divot's getting a nice squeeze. Nice little jolt there. And then massaging inside that web in between the thumb and the index. All right. So by now, giving yourself a chance to do that hand massage on both sides. You've also been standing in this mountain pose for a little while. We're going to take the block out of the thighs here and come back to that mountain pose. The hands are nice and stretched. We're in that mountain pose. Feet are facing forward. My legs are still active, but my knees are soft. And they're active because I'm rotating the legs inward. So rotating the knees, the direction of the knees, rotating that inward, but keeping the thighs nice and flexible to move without having locked knees. All right. Shoulders roll back, and those newly stretched hands are now out nice and wide. This is where I'd like for you to begin thinking about your breathing. All right, so we learned that ocean breath where it's an inhale in through the nose and an exhale out of the nose. But what makes it an ocean breath is the sound it makes. So notice if you can just zero in on the sound of your breath and begin inhaling and exhaling through the nose. And if you want, you can lower your chin even, and that helps to create that sense of almost like the inside of a seashell as you begin ocean breath. So let's try that out here. It's inhaling in through the nose and exhaling out of the nose. Inhale Exhale. Creating the sound of the ocean wave as you inhale and exhale. Rocky does not care about the ocean breath right now. Inhaling and exhaling we go. Inhaling in through the nose and out of the nose. Nice. You're able to go ahead and lift your forehead or lift your head up and still keep that same inhale, exhale. So slowing the breath down by noticing how you're able to even constrict in the back of the throat and then back there in the back of your head toward the where the sinuses meet the back of your throat there. So the head is lifted, thinking about that neutral spine and inhaling and exhaling. Okay. Let's add some movement to it. On the inhale, we're just going to bring the hands up. And on the exhale, put them down. So exhaling out of the nose still. Sorry about that. Inhaling in through the nose and exhaling out of the nose. Inhale, exhale. Good. Follow the sound of your own breath as you inhale and exhale. Maybe float those arms down like they're pushing out and against the water that you're floating in. Inhaling in and exhaling out. Good. I'm going to turn to the side now. Still standing in mountain pose, but I want to use that same inhale with the arms lifted up and exhale with the arms coming down to get us ready to move into forward fold. So we learned about forward fold. We are thinking about being patient because we're just human. And that forward fold is a really good be patient pose when you're able to get into it during your practice. So let's inhale, bringing the arms up. Exhale, bringing the arms down. Last time, inhale, bring the arms up. And now let's exhale, let's forward fold. So you could just bend forward, or you can put your hands at your hips and bend forward. So we're gonna bend forward and then roll down. And I have a block today, and I can use the block to catch my hands and adjust the block to the height that meets my need. So you do that. Find the height of the block or the book that you're using to meet your needs. You could also just play around with removing the block and seeing if you're able to melt down into that fold. Soften your knees here. So we don't want you to lock your knees here. Just bend them and straighten them a little bit. And if you're able to, see if you can bring the arms or the hands behind you, just pointing them backwards. Just play around with this forward fold. Everyone's will look different. All right, let's soften those knees and roll up one vertebrae at a time. We're going to do that again. We're going to go into the forward fold that felt best for you. And then we're going to add that ocean breath once we get there. Okay, so inhale, exhale out of the mouth or the nose, arms back down. So inhaling, exhaling. And now we're going to do it one more time. Inhale. And you could exhale, bring the hands at the hips or just swing them down, whichever feels good to you. We're going to come down into that forward fold you determined. All right. And once you're here, let's come back to that ocean breathing. So once you get down to that yummy forward fold, go ahead and let your head relax. and regain that ocean breathing. So the inhaling and exhaling in through the nose and out of the nose. Softening your knees, check in with your knees to see that they're okay. And if you'd like, you can grab your elbows here too. We're going to spend about 30 more seconds here. It's a really good moment to pause and just be patient with yourself, and also to get in a nice stretch there in the hamstrings. And the ocean breath is calming the nervous system. And if you're feeling playful, you can even swing from side to side. And if you have your hands on a block, you can do the same thing. So everyone gets a chance here to be playful and to do what feels good in these poses here. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and softening the knees, rolling up now. Slowly rolling up, beginning to curve that back and stacking the vertebrae one on top of the other. Coming back into that mountain pose for a moment and just noticing how you're feeling. Just notice how you feel after having spent a few moments in that beautiful extension of a forward fold. And now you're coming back into this strong, solid, grounded mountain pose. And find that ocean breath here too, if you want. So that inhale in through the nose and out of the nose again. All right. We're going to take some time now and get into some lunges. So I'm standing in the middle of my mat because I forgot to tell you all the other day that you can either step forward into a lunge or you can step back into a lunge. So if you're at the top of your mat, you're probably going to be stepping back. And if you're at the back of your mat, you'll be stepping forward. If you're in the middle, you could pick whatever side, but we want the right foot to be in the front and the left foot to be in the back. All right. We're going to come into this high lunge. So just get there however you need to, but we're going to find this high lunge. So the feet are facing forward. My back foot is up, which means the heel is up, and my front leg is bent. So this is that high lunge. So I want to just find this high lunge and give yourself a chance to stabilize in this lunge here. And that ocean breath is a great guide for you. Smoothing out your breath gives your body something to focus on, and it quiets and stills the body. It's amazing how that works. So, oh, here we go. I'm not focusing on my breath right now. So let's go ahead and focus on the breathing, that mountain, that ocean breath there, inhaling and exhaling in through the nose and out of the nose. And just notice if that helps you quiet your body into this high lunge here. We'll only spend another 15 seconds or so in it. So here we go. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, let's melt forward. So you're going to lean forward, coming into runner's lunge. So this is still a high lunge here because our knee is up. So go ahead and find this runner's lunge and hold this runner's lunge for a quick moment. And if this feels like a challenge, you can always create a different size or different shape lunge by bringing in that back foot. Or when you step it out, that's what creates more of an intense balancing act. So if you want to focus on the stretch and not so much the balancing of it all, bring that back foot in. And then that way you can create a better balance underneath the center of gravity for yourself. All right. If you want to step it back, feel free to do so too. We're going to go into low lunge now. So drop that left knee back, uncurl the toes. So this is our low lunge. And if it feels good, you can walk your hands up that front leg and bring those hands back to your hip. Another low lunge. This is another good stretch here for the front part of the quad, or the top of the quad on the back leg, and the hamstrings on the other side. All right. Okay, let's go and put the hands back down, curl your toes. We're going to come back to this high lunge, this runner's lunge version. And then what I want you to do is to bring that back foot toward the front and bring the front foot toward the back, whatever you need to do to bring those feet together, and then roll up. All right. So that's how we're going to get out of the lunge on that side. So slowly rolling up after you've brought the feet together. Let's do that on the other side. Stepping the left foot forward, or stepping the right foot back. If you are at the front of your mat there, whatever it takes, you're creating this lunge on the left side. So the left leg is forward. Both feet are facing forward. I've got the back foot up. Now let's put the back foot down. So that's when you allow the heel to come in, and the inner part of that foot is now on the mat. So this is what's called foot down or foot flat. All right. So it's still a lunge, but we just made a different shape out of it based on where that foot was placed. Now go ahead and bring the foot back up. So you're rotating that heel back up. We're going to go into runner's lunge. All right. So this is our runner's lunge. And I think these were all inspired by that advice about the group text, getting you ready to leave that group text if you need to, getting you in that runner's ready lunge position. Let's go ahead and drop the knee to low lunge and then uncurl those toes. And then if you're wanting to have fun with that stretch, go ahead and walk your hands up your hip, up your leg, and then put your hands on your hips. Low lunge. Feeling that nice stretch there on the quad and then underneath the hamstring. All right. And then last but not least, so inhaling and exhaling here. Let's go ahead and put those hands back on the floor. And instead of coming out of the runner's lunge, we're just going to send that left foot back and go into tabletop. So we're going to set up in our tabletop, hands and knees. So the wrists are underneath the shoulders and the knees are underneath the hips. And it's in this moment, you're just going to think about how fine you are, and that you're either fine as F or sexy as F or handsome as F, whatever word you landed on, and use that to motivate you through cat cow. So using the ocean breath, we're still going to inhale and exhale. On our inhale, I'm lifting the chin, lowering the belly, raising the tailbone. This is the cow pose. Exhale, curving the back or arching the back, pushing all that air out of the body there, coming into this cat pose. Inhaling, cow. Exhale, cat. Do this 3 more times on your own. Inhaling and exhaling out of the nose, being really intentional with the breathing on this one. Nice job. You can keep doing cat and cow for as long as you'd like. And when you're done with all of that, just bring your bottom on back to your heels. This is our final pose here. It's called the child's pose. And I'll talk about this, I promise, because this is a really good restorative pose that I haven't shared yet, but it is just a great way to end a flow. So let's go for it. Sending the tailbone and the butt back toward the heels, sitting down, stretching the arms out. Good job. You can continue to stay in that child's pose. I'm going to stop the recording for this, but I just want to thank you for traveling with me through this journey of a year of advice from this unicorn, and then a year of intentional moving and breathing and um, regaining a sense of being at home in our bodies. I really appreciate you coming along with me for this, and look forward to the next week's worth of advice from a unicorn. Bye.